Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet the great Larry Paschall. He is an expert in residential architecture. His incredible journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
All right, this show is all about residential architecture, and if you think about it, you can drive through a neighborhood and you have a very similar look of a home, and you can drive through another neighborhood and a completely different style, and styles go in and they go out and then they come back again. To talk about that today, Larry Paschall. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Spotted Dog Architecture. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, let's go back to the early days. When did you know that you wanted to be an architect?
Probably I was maybe 7 or 8. My stepmother had been in architecture school and had been flunked out from a professor who decided it was the 70s and women weren't supposed to be architects. And somehow I inherited all of her architecture equipment, so to speak. But I also grew up in a house that was a 2-bedroom house with 4 kids and 2 parents. And suddenly you're very, very, very aware of space. So I'd find myself scribbling floor plans for bigger homes that we would never have, but it was something to do to kind of try to visualize what was going to be possible.
And you went to both UTA and A&M.
I did.
Tell us what you learned from the schools.
UTA was great about theory. They really wanted you to understand space. They wanted you to know how it felt to move through the space. But it became very jarring because there wasn't any practicality to it. So I did about half of my degree at UTA and finished up at A&M, which was much more practical. One of my first studios that I participated in was all residential. This residential architect had this nice little studio, and that's all we did was houses. So it was sort of a dream come true, maybe.
Absolutely.
So it worked out great.
Okay, we're going to pull up your website, and I want you to talk about Spotted Dog Architecture because I think it's a wonderful name. How'd you come up with that name?
Well, you see the spotted dog on the couch? That's my dog, or was my dog at the time, and she's not with us anymore, unfortunately. But this is my house. This is what we gutted there. We took it back to stud and started over. And one of the things I like to tell clients is there's always space that you don't utilize, that you don't think about. And that's what we do with our own home. We actually use the space we weren't using and made it work better for us.
And it's probably so rewarding when the client comes back to you after the project is finished and talks about how you changed their life.
Yeah. The last thing you want is to actually have them come back and go, well, we need to change this, we need to change that. So we try to think of everything and hopefully get all that wrapped into, we never want to get to an end of a project and have a client say, well, we should have done this. So I always talk to my clients and say, let's get all of your wants on the table and let's see how much of that we can do. And if we can, we'll do everything that's here. And if not, we have to make some decisions, but we always try to make that happen.
Right before the show, you were describing one of your favorite clients, and you don't have to name the client, but will you share that story?
Sure. Client came to me, they were wanting to do an addition to an existing house and an old Tudor in Kelsey Park. And we worked through everything. We worked through all the plans, we figured all the layout. The pricing came back and it was far more than what they were planning on spending. And the wife really wanted this project to happen. So she came to me separately and said, can we sit down for a minute and let's figure out the plan we have, what do we have to change about it to make it work for our budget? And we were able to do it, and it was great because you can actually make that happen. And they were just wonderful clients. And I think that's been been the nice part of this journey is I like the people I work with.
Yes. And styles come and go. I mean, what era are we in right now?
I feel like we're in the Dallas modern era, and pardon the bunny ears.
Yeah.
If you drive through and you think, oh, it's modern Dallas, it's a little bit of stucco, a little bit of wood, standing seam roof, black windows, and we think of that as modern. And I think we have a misconception of what that really means. So we're sort of in that era, but I work with clients who do all sorts of styles. There's nothing, I've never had a set list of this is the only thing I will ever work on. So when someone comes to me with something, I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. You also have a separate brand, and we're going to pull up your website. Talk about this other brand.
The Big Gay Architect. And it's not just because I'm big. This was a kind of a joke between a friend and I. And when I was first coming up with the name for Spotted Dog, he said, why don't you just call it the Big Gay Architect? And I'm like, ha, ha, ha. And then I started writing the blog, and it became the Big Gay Architect. And that's just something that I've continued to do. And as I've gotten further into it, this last year has been a lot about advocacy because of what's happening politically, what's happening in the country. Just trying to provide a voice for other queer architects. A lot of it to say, hey, there are other people like you and other people who think along the lines you do, and reach out to us for support and what we can do to help everyone out. Kind of bring people together so there's a huge network of queer architects who can actually lean on one another.
And you've been doing a very successful podcast for many years. Tell people about your podcast.
So it's the Architecture Geese podcast. I have a podcast partner, Matthew Jacobson. He's also an architect. And we've been doing this since 2019, and we really got into it during the pandemic. I mean, we were churning out one a week almost. And it's just whatever we want to talk about, whatever. Matthew is very technical, likes to dig into the details, hence the geeks part. Mm-hmm. So that's typically where the name came from. Sorry. Mm-hmm. But we just like doing it. It's fun. And we just talk about whatever we want to talk about and not try to take ourselves too seriously.
Outstanding. Yeah. Well, in the final minute or so, why don't you look into the camera on the left and talk to that young architect who has a brilliant future, and what would you like to leave them about mentorship and finding people who are older and wiser in the business?
Well, speaking as the elder gay, and that's a running joke with some friends of mine. I prefer homo emeritus. I think for up-and-coming queer architects, know that there are others out there in the community that you can look to and lean on and ask questions of. For young architecture students in general, it can be a grind to be in school, but remember you have value. Don't kill yourself trying to complete your degree. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And for younger queer architects, that means reaching out to the people that can help you and that can help mentor you through the process.
Outstanding. You've been an amazing guest. Thank you so much for sharing your heart and your wisdom. We're going to end with both of his websites. We'll start with spotteddogarchitecture.com and then thebiggayarchitect.com. Outstanding. Leo, thank you so much.
I'll say, and you can also find me on Instagram at Big Gay Architect or at Spotted Dog Arch.
Outstanding. You've been amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So much.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.